some discussions regarding the toilet equipment, any, how do you say, experiences you've had yourself that you'd like to discuss, any future up and coming clients that you're thinking of shower toilets with, and you may have questions in your head. So I've got a few slides with some questions that have been asked just of late over the last webinars. I'm going to run through them, and then I'm going to turn off the PowerPoint presentation, and really it's more for you guys to ask me the questions and I can answer them as best as I can. When I take the camera down later, you'll notice I have got some equipment around the toilet so we can share experiences and stories. Stuart and Hannah, who works with us from our marketing team, they'll be writing down any questions that you do have, so please do type them in the box. And when I finish this little short presentation, we'll start answering them. So just so you're all aware, we are actively still carrying out assessments with the shower toilet. The one you'll see shortly is the one that I normally have on wheels taken in and out of people's houses. We're doing this as and when it's seen fit by yourselves as occupational therapists or technical officers. We do have an online version as well, which utilises a YouTube demonstration video we created. But basically, we're working to whatever yourselves or the clients and the families see the safest way to work. So if that is in the house, rest assured we wear PPE, the gloves, the masks. If we think we're going to get closer than the 2 metre, we've got aprons to wear as well. And for what it's worth, we wipe our toilets down with antibacterial spray and wipes before we take it in the house and when we take it back out the house. And just in case you're not aware, Geberit globally are one of the market leaders with shower toilets. The range that you see on the screen is what we do sell here in the UK, but predominantly in the retail market. So for our healthcare market, and what myself and my team focus on solely, is our AquaClean Mirror Care toilet. And that's one that you can see on the screen right now. It's the one that we purposely developed for healthcare market. It comes with the controls as standard that you expect from our previous toilet. It comes with a 5-year warranty as standard, and it's floor mounted, specifically designed to work with a vast array of equipment. So these are some questions that have been raised over the last couple of webinars, whether it was during the webinar and we didn't get a chance to answer them, or whether it was after the webinar and someone's dropped me an email. So one of the first ones I got asked was, why does your wash arm point down rather than straight out like some other shower toilets do? It's quite a straightforward answer, to be honest. More than anything, it's for hygiene. So when we developed our very first toilet back in 76, 78, our wash arm did come out very straight and pointed straight up. But as time's moved on and the shower toilets have evolved and you move into what we call now modern shower toilets, we quickly learned that an actual wash arm can get quite dirty when it's pointing directly upwards. So hopefully you can see in this picture, our wash arm points down. So when the water comes out, it comes out at an angle and forwards. So where it hits the bottom, which I've done with an orange line at the top, once it hits the bottom and falls down, it falls down in front of the wash arm and not on the wash arm. So it makes it far more hygienic, makes it a lot cleaner for multiple users in the family because the shower toilet doesn't have to be for one particular person. And it's just very reassuring, wash after wash, day after day, that the wash arm isn't getting coated in feces that's being washed off the bottom and falling down directly on it. And it's also one of the reasons why, especially our toilet, as we call it, a modern shower toilet, doesn't rely heavily on yearly servicing. The families can gain access to clean it, and because it can be cleaned as and when, and it's not under direct falling spray of a wash, it's also a lot cleaner with it. So that's the main reason. It's just more hygienic having it pointing down and the water going up at an angle, and then the water and the dirt and the debris falls down in front rather than falling down directly on it. This was a good question, and this was one that 12 months ago we'd have to say no to. Is there a tilting space shower chair on the market that can work with a side exit soil pipe? The first webinar 3 weeks back now was based on future-proofing the installation of a shower toilet, and one of the topics I touched on was a side exit soil pipe and how it would be fine with a normal attendant type shower chair, but not very good with self-propel or tilting space being the more commonly asked question. So typically you would remove the toilet, box out the soil pipe so it's hidden behind like a false wall as it would appear, and then reinstall the toilet to allow a tilting space shower chair to go over. During one of the OTAC events last year, I think we were in South Wales, chatting with Tom from Invercare, and I noticed that their new Invercare Aquatech Ocean VIP Ergo, a little bit of a mouthful, But when they launched that, noticed very quickly that it's the only shower chair I've ever noticed on the market where the frame is different, because Invercare have made the tilt different. It does more of a swoosh forward into its own space rather than tilting within its frame. So very often, if you look at the little picture in the middle of a screen, that's a typical shower chair frame that would quite easily go over the toilet as long as there's no side exit soil pipe. If there was a soil pipe sticking out sideways, that frame would hit it and stop it going all the way back. If you look at the larger picture, you can see on the Invercare version, the frame doesn't go back because of how it's designed. It still does its tilting space once you're away from the toilet. But in that particular product, it was quite exciting for us because it can save a lot of cost. On some toilets where the toilet does have a side exit already installed and in place, you would have to consider having the toilet uninstalled, building a partitioned wall, this false wall, then reinstalling the toilet, then getting the shower chair. So everything is cost on cost. And with the Invercare one, you literally could turn up with this and just wheel it straight over the toilet. There'd be no need to uninstall it, to move it, to put it back in. And if I just flick back to the picture, I do have to stress the title is very important, because Invercare have 2 tilting space shower chairs on the market. So as long as you ask for the Aquatech Ocean VIP Ergo, then you get that exact model. I believe if you ask for the Aquatech Ocean tilting space, you get the other model. So do take note of that name. That's the one that works. It's height adjustable, so it can be adjusted to match the height of whatever toilet height we've installed at already. And it doesn't get obstructed by a side exit soil pipe. So in some situations, it can be a real quick fix. Last week, we did a session on shower toilets and bariatrics and larger people, and I exhibited a couple of benches that work with a toilet. Something that came back from that was about apertures and sizes. I was discussing about people's bottoms, when an aperture is too big that it actually falls into it and that pushes the buttocks together. A question came back, and it was actually something I'd not done, so it prompted me to go and do it, was to measure the aperture difference between a Big John toilet seat and our standard aperture on our Miracare toilet seat. I was quite surprised actually, because the aperture on a Big John is 290 millimeters in length, so from front to back, back to front, which is about 11.5 inches. And the aperture width was 220 millimeters, which is about 9 inches wide. So then I measured ours, and we're actually, for what it's worth, 1/4 inch, 10 millimeters longer than a Big John seat. So we can actually boast that we give a centimetre or so extra length for people to get their bits in the toilet, if you like. In terms of width, we're a little bit narrower. We're 7.5 inch compared to the Big John being 9 inch width. If you're looking at a normal toilet and someone using toilet roll, then that 1.5 inches could be the difference between someone with larger hands, larger forearms, being able to get access to the bottom by reaching into the toilet seat. On a shower toilet, actually being narrower is a little bit better, because, as I mentioned earlier, the smaller the aperture, the less of the buttocks can fall in. And on a shower toilet, you don't need to get your hands in. You're going to sit on the toilet, you're going to relax, do what you've gone to do, and then touch one of the control panels, which will operate the wash and the drying. So for us, having a narrow aperture as standard isn't a bad thing, because you're not going to be getting your hands in. Saying that, what it does actually give us, if you look at the picture on the left, which is our standard toilet seat, because we've actually got a slightly narrower aperture, it actually gives you more surface area than a normal toilet seat. So not quite as much as a Big John toilet seat, but more than a normal toilet seat. And especially towards the back of a toilet seat, where we're more squared and round, so we have more flat, square space for the buttocks to rest on and the shelf to go behind. During the session last week, someone asked me, it was one of the questions I didn't actually have an answer for there and then. We were talking about toilet lifters. And someone asked what was the highest, and to my knowledge, I could only think of one. So I actually went off and just looked into it. So with our toilet, there's actually quite a range of toilet lifters that work with our toilet. And the question from one of the occupational therapists was the weight limit. So all of the lifters you can see in front of you, whether it's the Earlet, the vertical or the rise function, whether it's a solo toilet lifter, For some of you who've been doing occupational therapy for a long time, you'll recognise it from Mountway years ago. It's now Drive to Vilbis. And the new one on the market, which is a toilet buddy from Osprey Healthcare. So the Earlet's vertical all rise is 24 stone. The Solo is 25 stone. And the toilet buddy is a 30 stone weight limit. So as a standard toilet riser, the one with the greatest weight is a toilet buddy. However, I can stress the Earlet do a bariatric version with a big John seat on it, but it's not something I've ever been asked for, and it's not something I've actually tried. And I believe that takes it up to 44 stone. But from my experiences so far, I've never had someone ask for the bariatric version of the Earlet. But it's just worth knowing there is one out there. I think it's 44 stone weight limit. The toilet buddy, I'm actually sat on it while I'm doing this presentation, so I can give you a glimpse into it later on. All of those that you see there's no modifications to our toilet. We can function the toilet with the seat on or with the seat off, which means families can still use it. They can be removed, everything but the Earlet. The Solo and the toilet buddy can be removed away from the toilet if needed for the rest of the family. Or the seat can be taken off, which means it skims the ceramic, and sitting on it is exactly like sitting on the toilet seat, and none of the performance qualities are lost. The whole idea of this session was to let you guys ask the questions, and hopefully I can answer them for you. I'm just going to leave this slide up for a second so you can take my name and number down should you want to. This is actually the last slide, so I'll be turning the camera off. Behind me, I have a Freeway T40 Auto shower chair. I've got an Osprey Healthcare self-propel shower chair, and I've got a toilet buddy, and I've got my toilet itself, a demonstration toilet. So if you've got any questions, whether it's regarding equipment, working with a toilet, what should you be looking out for, cleaning, servicing, maintenance of toilets, controls, functions, any questions like this that you may have heard or seen or were unsure about in the past or just want qualifying, that's the whole idea of this next session. If we do run out of questions towards the end and there's still time, I've got a copy of what we call our equipment compatibility report. It's a document that's about 45, 50 pages long, and it's got all the equipment in that we've tested with our toilet. So I'm happy to open that up and re-share the screen and run through it at the end, but hopefully you've all got some questions and we can talk through them. So just bear with me while I turn down the presentation. Okay. Stuart, can you bring my screen on? Am I there?
You are. You're back.
I am. Okay. So I'm going to hide back here. I can hide behind my toilet. Hopefully you all can see me. And then you can take it in turns asking questions. Did we get any asked in the inbox?
Yes, we did. So we've got two. So I'll read these two to you now, Simon. Can the pressure activation be switched off if a shower chair is positioned over the toilet so that the wash-dry function still works without directly sitting on the toilet? And then question number two, is there a pediatric version or adjustments that can be made?
Well, question one first then. So with every toilet comes, we use a remote control. And on the back of the remote control is a little function setting, what we call accessibility mode. Everyone calls it shower chair mode, but on the remote control, it's called accessibility mode. So there's no engineer required. We simply go onto the remote control, whether it's ourselves at the time of install, whether it's an occupational therapist or an installer on the phone asking us how to do it. But the remote control actually puts it into shower chair mode. So you don't need an engineer to call out. There's no cost to it. You simply just get the remote control and put it into shower chair mode. And that allows the toilet to work whether you're sat on it or whether you're on a shower chair over it. But what we've done, we didn't want the toilet going off by accident, because over the years we've heard all sorts of stories of, oh, the seat was bypassed.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, was that someone?
I think somebody had a question, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just to finish it off, to stop the toilet going off by accident.
We've allowed people to mute and unmute so they can ask Simon questions. But obviously, if you don't have a question, can you keep yourself on mute? Okay. Otherwise, Simon will stop.
Okay. So yeah, just to finish off, to stop the toilet going off by accident, because it's now in shower chair mode, we've brought a two-touch function. So normally, if you were sat on the toilet directly, the pressure in the seat knows, turns the toilet on, And when you press the start button once, it would activate the flush to wash to dry process. For the shower chair mode, we didn't want someone catching a button and setting it off by accident. So we give it a 2-touch process. So the first touch is like telling the toilet, hi, I'm here, and I might want to wash in a little bit. So you press the button once and the toilet kicks in, the odor extractor fan turns on, the heater tanker starts warming up the water, but it won't do a wash, not until you press the start button for the second time. And it was just a nice little way of stopping any accidental washes going off. Stuart, what was part 2 to that question, sorry?
Pediatric controls.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of fun because we get the remote control that comes as standard. You get the little touch panel that you can stick on the wall, the little glass screen that has no buttons. You simply just touch it and it'll flush, wash, dry. Lots of kids love the little remote control because he can sit there on the toilet with it in the hands, and we get comments from mums and dads saying, yeah, he loves the remote control or she loves the remote control because it gives them something to do on the toilet, which keeps them on the toilet longer. However, you can also download onto your app, you can download the app, whether it's onto your mobile phone or whether it's onto an iPad or a tablet, this remote control as an app. So we've had some amazing stories. One of the webinars I touched on last year was about a young autistic girl, scared to death of a toilet and the controls, loved her mobile phone. So we put the app on a mobile phone and the next minute her mobile phone was controlling her toilet and she loved it to bits. We've had people sitting on Riften HTS shower chairs with a little tray on top, and they've got their iPad because they play on the iPad wired on the toilet because the bowels take so long to go. And whilst they're watching YouTube, playing games, watching Peppa Pig or anything like that, they turn off whatever they're watching, turn on the app and control the toilet completely off their iPad or off a tablet or whatever device they've took into the bathroom. We've even had some instances where people are going out and buying the cheapest tablet they can find, which is normally the Amazon Fire Tab, and they're downloading the app and leaving the tablet in the bathroom purely for the toilet. They're not using it for day-to-day use. I think the Amazon Fire Tab costs around about £50, £60, and they're going out buying it and just leaving it in the bathroom for no other reason than being able to control the toilet off the tablet. The remote control is fantastic. It's dead easy, dead intuitive. It's like a TV remote control. But for those who are not very good at strength to press buttons fully, then you think of a mobile phone, it's just a touch screen. You can just tap it and it'll do it. So that's how we tend to get around any pediatric controls.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Simon. Somebody's asked, can you demonstrate how you personally program the controls? Is that something you're able to do for us, Simon?
And if you'll write this down and take notes of it, if you jump on YouTube later on and type in AquaClean Care Team, now my Wigan accent doesn't say Care that well, so I'll spell it C-A-R-E, AquaClean Care Team, okay? You'll find my YouTube channel, and on there is a video showing you how to program the presets. The easiest way to think of it is like your car radio. So if you're in your car and you're tuning in your favorite radio station, you'll dial in the radio station you want, and then you'll press and hold one of the numbers on your radio stations for about 5 seconds, and your car radio bleeps and it's saved. So the next time you come along, you turn your radio on, and if someone else in the family's changed radio stations, you just press your number and it goes back. Believe it or not, with the remote control, it's virtually identical. So the idea is, whilst you're on the toilet, you press a big button to start washing. And whilst you're having a wash, you'll use a plus and minus buttons to speed up the power of the water to how you want it. And whilst you're having a wash, you'll use the arrow buttons to get the wash arm in the right place. And whilst it's doing the wash, you simply press and hold whichever one of the 4 silver buttons you want to be. Hold it for 5 seconds. It doesn't bleep like a car radio, but after 5 seconds, it's saved it as a preset. So the next time you come along, instead of pressing start and slowing it down and speeding it up and changing position, you just press start and your silver button, and you will get your wash. I guess another analogy would be like the cars that are fancy enough to have the seat position settings, and when you get in, you press your button and the seat moves forward, the back reclines back, the steering wheel drops down. It's kind of like that. As you can see along the bottom, we've got 4 presets. We actually have 5 because pressing the big button is generic, which we can program. So on my toilet at home, I simply get down in the bathroom, and when I've done what I'm doing, I press start and I get my wash because I've set the basic settings to be my wash. I do know that then Caitlin, my eldest daughter, comes along and presses start at number 1. She gets her wash, totally different than mine. Georgia Lee is number 2. My sister, because she comes out often, is number 3. And 4, we've just set up as a generic for anyone and everyone to try. So you actually have 5 presets, and it really is as simple as start, speed it up, slow it down, get it in the right place, press and hold it. And some people say, oh, that's a lot to try and get done, because most people are used to a shower toilet washing for around 15, 20 seconds. Ours washes for 55 seconds. So in that near enough a minute's time, you can speed it up, slow it down, find what's most comfortable for yourself, get it in the right place, and simply press and hold, and it's done. All right.
Super. Thank you very much, Simon.
No problem.
Questions are coming through, which is great. Is there a wall and or foot switch control available?
Is there a...
Controls. So is there a wall control and a foot control switch?
So yeah, so the toilet comes with a little, what we call a touch panel. So it's touch or light sensitive to within about a millimetre, 2 millimetre. So it looks like a little glass panel. It's got a picture of a fountain on it. And you simply just touch it with your finger, your thumb, the back of your hand, your elbow, your knee. So we've not got one that you rest on the floor, because that may be something they'll fall over. But for people who may not use their arms to activate the toilet, they can use their knee, they can use a foot. So I've seen people mount the little touch panel on the skirting board and they just tap it with the outside of the foot. The touch panel, I've got a gentleman who actually stuck his on the backrest, so he touched it with his back. I'm trying to think of gentleman on the whirl who could no longer lift his arms, so he actually stuck it on the side of a ceramic, out of view against the wall. And whilst he's on his toilet, he just wafts his arm, it swings out and comes back and touches the panel. So we've not got something you put on the floor, because it may just be a bit of a trip risk, but we've got the touch panel. And I keep saying touch because everyone understands touch better, but you can actually waft past it just once. And as long as you're in a couple of mil, that's enough to trigger the light sensitivity in it, and that'll flush, wash dry your bottom as well. So it's contactless if you like.
Thank you. Can the seat be removed so somebody can literally wash it, dip it in hot water, rather than just spray it with a cleaning product?
Yes, you can. And it's a 2-second task, no tools. Hopefully you can see this on the camera. I'm going to lift the toilet seat up. And on the right-hand side, when you're facing the toilet, is a little tab that you slide across and then lift up and take it off. So you can put it on the shower floor, get your scrubbing brush out, give it a good shower. I've seen people put it in the bath. I had a lady in Doncaster who used to put it in a dishwasher. We really don't recommend that, but she did. So yeah, really easy to take off, really easy to clean around, and it also gives you full access underneath the hinge area as well. So to put it back on, you just come from the left, slide across and pull the little tab, and we're back on again. Dead easy. I was chatting last week about bariatrics, and sadly sometimes you find large people may live on their own. So when we're putting benches over here to absolutely reduce the loss of performance of the washing and the drying, we take the seat off, adjust the toilet up an extra couple of mils so the benches skim the ceramic rather than skimming the toilet seat. What that also means is, by not having the seat on, for those who've got a shelf as part of a bottom, a bigger bottom, this would be in the way. So when we actually take it off completely, it doesn't affect the toilet from washing and drying, but if we've got a bench over here, we've not got any obstruction here. And in some cases, we've had the toilets going in children's bathrooms, and it is just for child's bathroom, not for anyone else. And mums and dads say, well, I'm going to take the toilet seat off and keep it off because the flamingo shower chair lives over the toilet, it never moves. So it just gives you that extra 25, 30 mil removing to get the flamingo, which doesn't have a skirt on the seat like some shower chairs do, to get it to skim the ceramic. And it also means there's nothing sticking up the back that may press in the back or stop the chair from going all the way back. So really simple.
Thank you very much. We've had a question about servicing.
Okay.
So if you could just explain it. The question was, how often do you service them? But if you could do a general discussion around servicing of and cleaning of them, please.
I think in terms of how and when, the most hygienic way to answer it is whenever you want. So historically, we've all had this terminology of a yearly service. I think more and more people are realising this now, but with a modern shower toilet, servicing is a complete thing of the past. These toilets can be cleaned quickly and easily whenever you want. So historically, you may have someone come out once a year and they'd have a tool that would pull out the wash arm, and then they'd scrape and scratch all a year's worth of dirt and grime, if you like. They'd wash that off. On a modern shower toilet, you can get access to the wash arm quite quickly. And I will show you, and hopefully it comes up on the camera. I'm just going to lift the seat so you can see inside the toilet. Again, if this doesn't show up too well on the camera, go onto the YouTube channel, and in there you'll see a 1 minute and 18-second video. And it's me literally stood in the toilets at work going, "Hi, I'm Simon. I'm going to show you how to clean your toilet." And it's a demonstration video showing you how to clean. I've been saying it now for years. There's no such thing as a service, but there is such thing as cleaning your toilet. So I'm going to take the remote control. I'm going to press and hold the plus button in and the start button together. And what that does is bring out the wash arm. So hopefully you can see that now sticking out. And with antibacterial spray, warm soapy water, a cloth, or even tissue, toilet roll, you would squirt it, and then you would simply wipe it and give it a really good clean. And once it's nice and shiny, press the big silver button on the remote control, and it goes back. If you've not got the remote control, you can use the buttons on the side. It goes back, out comes a dryer arm, and again, squirt it, wipe it. Once it's nice and clean, press the big silver button or the button on the side, and back it goes. Now, you can do that whenever you want. I do mine, I'm being very honest with you. I do it about every 4 weeks. As soon as I notice the girly bags going into the bin, it's my daughters and it's the time of the month, they're using the bottom wash, they're using the lady wash. So I want to make sure that that lady wash is as clean as possible throughout the whole year, not just once a year. So I do mine every 4 weeks. I've got a gentleman who lives in Penakai over in Wrexham Way. He's got hepatitis B, so his carers have to do it every single day. So when he's finished on the bathroom, they'll go in with the gloves and the aprons on. They'll squirt down antibacterial spray the walls, the sink, the tap, the door handle, the grab rail. And whilst they get the remote control, press plus and start. And out comes the arm and they squirt it and wipe it. And that's it. You can actually do a little bit more with it. But as a general rule, that's what I show them. But just to show you how easy it is, because it's a toolless task, I'm going to get hold of the wash arm and I'm going to turn it anti-clockwise. And that actually lets me bring the entire arm out. So if it was really bad, maybe it was a young child and they've had a bowel condition for a couple of days and they've been really heavily soiled. Sometimes the wash and the dry function can actually help people to go. Sometimes it can help people to finish off. Sometimes it can catch them out by surprise and they end up going mid-wash. So if that was a situation in a property, they could easily take the wash arm out, run it under the sink and tap, give it a real proper clean, and then simply put it back in the chamber and twist and lock it, and we're back in place. Not everyone's happy doing that. You can imagine an elderly gentleman with Parkinson doing this. He'd be shaking and maybe a bit nervous. We never show it to them. If we've got a very competent family, and lots of families are because we're used to playing with wheelchairs, nuts and bolts, and adjusting heights and things like that, they're capable. So I'm just going to press start and it's going to go back in and the dryer comes out. So if I really wanted to, I can get hold of a dryer, turn it anti-clockwise and just pull it out, and I can put the dryer in the sink and give it a real wash through. Like I said, the capability of doing it is there. Not everyone does, because it doesn't have to be done. But you know, you get the odd one or two who are really OCD and we want it to be as immaculate as possible. Then we show them that we can take it out. And it makes a 2-minute task a 5-minute task. It really is that simple. But yeah, there's no such thing as servicing with a modern shower toilet. You can do that every single day. You can do it once a week. You can do it once a month. If you're not good with your memory, you forget, people jump on the YouTube channel and watch the video whilst we're in the bathroom. And honestly, it really is as simple as pressing plus and start together. Out comes the arm, squirt it, wipe it, anything but bleach. Once it's nice and clean, give it another press again. Back it goes. Out comes the dryer, squirt and wipe, press again. Simplest thing ever. And it just means you're not reliant on someone coming out once a year to do it for you. Any next question, Stuart?
Yeah, we've got lots of questions. They keep coming. Do they need descaling?
So yes. So it's quite a simple task. And just so you know, Descaling, and this kind of touches on ongoing costs as well. So the toilet comes with a 5-year warranty free of charge. All that you have to do is register it when it's been installed. Typically the installer does it, or the technical officer when they're signing the job off. 1 bottle of descaler, forgive me, I'm going to lean across. 1 bottle of descaler comes with a toilet as standard. So your first 12 months is free of charge. So what we do, we give it a 5-year warranty free of charge. There's no yearly servicing costs, but once a year, it'll ask for a descale. And on the back of the remote control is a little button that you press to put it into descale mode. And basically, when we flick up the little cover, there's a little bung. Hopefully you can see that. I was leaning across. And you just pour the entire bottle in on top. On our old toilet, it was down at the side, out the way, where people couldn't reach it. On the new one, it's on top. So we fill the tank up and we close the lid. And on the remote control, we click descale device now. And it puts the toilet into a 1-hour descaling program. So very similar to your washing machines, to your little Tassimo coffee machines. 1 bottle of descaler costs £8 plus postage, which is about £2. So if we say £10 a bottle, over the next 5 years, you're going to end up buying 4 bottles, 1 a year, and that'll run you at about £40 for a year. We do sell them in packs of 10, which costs £70. And we do have some councils who buy a pack of 10 to go with a toilet as standard. So they give you 5 years warranty free of charge and 10 years worth of descaling. But in terms of moving on beyond any like extended warranties of 5 years we'll give you free of charge, literally our ongoing maintenance costs is 1 bottle of descaler a year. So it's going to run you at about £10 a year. So over the next 15 to 20 years, you know, you're looking at £150 to £200 of ongoing running costs for that entire lifespan of a toilet. So yes, there's one little task you do once a year. It reduces any buildup of limescale within the toilet. It keeps the little heater tanker super clean inside. And it's a 2-minute task. Again, if you're all fascinated and interested, jump on the YouTube channel and look on for how to descale. And I've actually got 2 videos on there. One's a computer generated that takes about 1.5 minutes to watch. And one we purposely put on that's 6 minutes longer, and I got my colleague Dennis with his lovely Scottish accent to narrate through it, so it just makes it a bit better.
Just following on from that, Simon, Lee's just asked, do you put the descaler in when you commission it on day 1, or do you do it 12 months later?
Yeah, so no such thing as, I'm just sorting my cable out. No such thing as commissioning. Simply install the toilet, turn it on. Turning on this shower toilet, because it's a modern one, as you turn it on, it's no different than turning your laptop on or your mobile phone. It runs through a couple of little tests and checks, and then it's working. So, as we say with ours, turn it on and get on it and have your first wash and you're off and away. But in terms of a descaler, yes, it's different than our old toilet. On the old toilet, it had a little tank called nozzle cleaner, and you would put that in at the time of the install. With the descaler, it's only needed in 12 months' time, so you just leave it with a family. And when we go out to do our end user training, we'll show them how to do it. We actually have a lovely little email with our YouTube videos on it. So every toilet that's registered, for every family that's got an email address, we send them this little email with the videos on, showing them what to do with the descale. So don't put it in, just leave it on the top of the system with a family and tell them simply that Simon or one of the team will talk you through what to do with that. And then they've got it for in 12 months' time.
Slight break from the Geberit now. Can you do a demonstration of the toilet razor, please?
Okay, of course. Right, so this one here is the Osprey Toilet Buddy, as it's called. Very, very, very similar to look at to the Solo, the one that's now through Drive to Vilbis. To be honest, the only few difference between them is the handles, I guess, and the way it works. But it's just like every other toilet lifter in the sense that it can be battery operated or hardwired. And it's got a little button on the side. It's going to get a bit noisy now because you know what the motors are like. But it's as simple as pressing 1 for up and 2 for down. So this is just like a rise recline chair designed to go over the toilet. It doesn't matter whether you have the seat on or the seat off on ours, because there is some weight to it, but some family members could possibly move it. Whenever you let go of the button, it stops. It's as simple as that. The beauty of this one is it's got a very flat underside. I'm not going to be able to show you because of spinning it around and everything, but it's got a very flat underside, so it sits very flat to the toilet itself. So we've not got any gaps, we've not got any any areas where the water could fall off your bottom and then splash out the side, which you can get with some of the lifters. But yeah, it's just very straightforward. I do believe you can even get a backrest on this. I've never, in years when I used to do retail, I never sold one with a backrest. I've never seen one with a backrest. But I believe as one of the optional extras, you can get a backrest on it as well, which is a bit different. But yeah, it's just no different than a lifter. For me, I like it because it's got the plastic covers on it rather than seeing the bare metal. The feet at the bottom are swivel feet, so you can wind them in and out to adjust the height to what you need it to be. There is, I'm not allowed to mention it, but there's a big secret with this coming out next week. So if you're on LinkedIn, make sure you follow Paul King at Osprey Healthcare, because he'll be revealing quite a nifty trick to that next week. But yeah, that's about it. Again, whether you have the seat down or seat taken off an hours, it doesn't matter. Like I said, some people, if this is going over the toilet and never being moved, we'd install a toilet slightly higher with a seat off, so this skims the ceramic. You get a really good seal, you get a really good wash and a dry from it as well.
Thank you very much for that, Simon. A couple more questions. Well, we've got several, but I'll keep plowing through. So can the Geberit be used with a Saniflow?
Yes, it can. So I was on site yesterday in Bolton actually with this. On the Saniflow, I always say, try to put it as close to a toilet as you can. It's not always possible, but it's just better practice to put it as close as possible. So these side panels on the cistern, we can cut into it for a side exit soil pipe. So the soil pipe can come out sideways and then the Saniflow mounted to the wall there. Not always the prettiest looking finish, but that's sometimes what has to happen in particularly small bathrooms. I have seen some of the larger bathrooms where they'll build like a little corridor studded wall, enough room to put an access panel in where someone can get in, and they'll mount the Saniflow in the wall hidden behind, so you don't actually see it at all. But yeah, it works no different than a normal toilet. It flushes like a normal toilet, and then the Saniflow takes it off and away and does what it does. More than anything, I just say it's positioning on a shower toilet. Any shower toilet, actually, when you look at them, you notice you can't see round the back of it because they sit flush against the wall. So you've just got to bear that in mind. Some of the pictures you see on a Saniflow website, they've got a normal ceramic toilet. So the Saniflow's under the cistern behind the ceramic, sat there. You can't do that with a shower toilet. So it either has to go in a wall hidden away or some sort of boxing in hidden away, or literally at the side of a toilet and it's on shore. Different councils, different installers work different ways. I think it really just depends on how big the bathroom is and what room you've got to lose, I guess, to make it look pretty. All done.
Thank you very much. We've had a question around toilet training for children. Do you have any issues with the seats? You know, the toilet training seats that you can put onto a normal toilet? Have you got any issues with using the Geberit and them?
No, I mean, in terms of a toilet when you're sitting on it, and I've said this for a long time because, you know, you can buy some, as they used to be called, ring reducers, children's ring reducers, and you pay £200 for a foam seat that you would rest on top of a normal toilet seat, but because it was from the healthcare market, it was £200. You know, I've said for many, many years now, sitting on here is no different than sitting on a normal toilet at home. So if you know, I've seen loads where families have just got the basic little toilet seat that you get from Asda that's £2.99, and they've been using it on the toilet at home for years. And then we come along with the specialist toilet, and it must have a specialist seat. And you're like, no, it doesn't. Just use what you've been using from Asda, wherever you want, whatever the family's already been doing. We don't have children's seats specifically for our toilet. One, we don't have enough demand for it. And secondly, we already have, as I mentioned earlier, a narrower aperture size width-wise than normal toilet seats because we don't want bottoms falling in them. But really, if any of you type in, and I do have a picture of it in my compatibility report, if any of you type in to Argos kids toilet seat with step, or even type in Google kids toilet seat with step, it was something I came across for a young boy who was achondroplasia, and that seat was using on his normal toilet. Then he got this because it was a step with a reduced aperture on the ceramic of his normal toilet. Then he got this, and they thought they couldn't use it because it was a specialist toilet, and you could. So have a little look on Amazon or even on Argos. Kids toilet seat with steps. Lovely little thing. Comes in all sorts of colours. and you just rest it on. You bypass the seat switch, so you put it into accessibility mode if it was sitting on the ceramic, and then it still works like normal, or you just rest it on a toilet seat like you'd rest any children's toilet seat on a toilet seat. But we don't have one that's built in. If we had someone desperately who wanted to do that, I think our competitors, Closemat, do, I think we call it the family seat, and it's a big seat with a little seat on top. So if you wanted something very fixed, that would be an option to go to. But for us, we just look at what families are already using, utilize that, or something that you can bring to it as well.
Great, thank you, Simon. A couple of questions around cost. What is the cost of the Geberit, and what is the cost of the toilet lifter next to it, please?
Toilet lifter, I believe it's about £1,900, so about similar to the solo toilet lifter. For me, the reason why I keep going on about like the solos and the toilet buddy is sometimes when you're doing the full DFG adaptation, the cost of one of these with an Earlet, which might do a little bit more, but can add a few £1,000 more to it. So typically an Earlet's about £4,000. These lifters are about £1,800–1,900. For me, it doesn't make any difference which you go with because I don't sell them. It's just having the knowledge that all these different bits of equipment do work. In terms of a toilet, a typical supply fit quote, this includes, and if I get a chance, I can show you a copy of the spec sheet later on. The difference with our toilet is everything comes as standard. So the controls that come with it, the touch wall panel is standard. It comes with every single toilet. The remote control that I showed you before for presetting the wash, it comes as standard. Actually, the only thing that we sell as an optional extra is a toilet lid, because most cases don't want a lid, so we don't put one on as standard. So all the controls are standard with every toilet. The 5-year warranty is free of charge and standard. So a typical supply and fit quote for our toilet, installed electrics, the other toilet taken out, all the functions, all the features, the lady wash, the pulsating wash, everything, typically is about £3,700 to £3,900. In some cases, it actually gets reduced quite a lot because we don't install ourselves. A lot of the councils that have their own wet room adaptations teams, they actually buy direct from a distributor and they're installing it themselves. So they massively reduce the cost down because it's their own teams of contractors fitting the toilet. And I think a typical supply only quote, everything is standard, is £2,900, I believe. So, and again, that's everything in it, the 5-year warranty, the controls, the functions, features.
Thank you. Couple more questions. Thank you for all the questions, by the way. This is great.
Yeah.
What size plinths are available, please?
Oh, none. So this toilet is actually built on a height adjustable steel frame. So when we're installing the toilet, we install it to the height that you want. And we can go from 43 centimetres, which is normal toilet height, right up to 56.5 centimetres. If you were really picky and you said, I want a seat height of 47.6 millimetres, we can do it. So there's no 25 mil increments like our old toilet used to be. This literally is whatever height you want it installed at through that range. The beauty of that is, let's say we installed this for a gentleman who was 6'6", and we pulled it right up to its tallest setting, 565 mil, 56.5 centimetres. It gets installed at that height. Let's just assume a year later, he comes off his feet, and we now need this toilet to be lower to work with a shower chair going over it. You've kind of got two options. One is to lower the toilet, which is always the easiest option, or to pay a fortune for a shower chair that's got a specially raised seat height setting to it. For this toilet, there's no need to, as you have to do with other toilets, which is to turn up, uninstall the toilet, put a new plinth in, fix the floor that you may have damaged, taking out the plinth, to then reinstall the toilet. On this toilet, we literally turn up 9 times out of 10, take the side panels off, loosen the frame settings, drop it to the height we want, to the exact millimetre you've asked for, tighten the frame back up, put the panels on and done. So instead of it being an all-day job, it's an hour, maybe 2-hour job at max. And there's nothing to pay for. There's no plinths to buy. There's no patching of the floor to pay for. It literally is side panels off, raise or lower the toilet to the height you need, lock the frame back in place, put the panels back on and done. So really quick, really simple. And the only charges you're going to pay is the labour cost for the installers to do it. And again, if you're one of those local authorities who've got your own DLO teams, your own wet room teams, well, they can turn up and do it at virtually zero cost, can't they?
Fantastic. Last question, Simon. What paediatric shower chairs in general are compatible?
Pretty much all of them. So the most popular ones is obviously the Rifton HTS. And we're fortunate with this one. On our old toilet, we could only get the medium and the larges over. On this one, we can get the small, medium and large over. So all the Rifton HTS versions, even the pump action one, the high-low frame, even that will go over it. The Flamingo from RH2, ETAC, the manual height adjustment frame and the seat sizes work on this. So they're the two most popular ones you see out there. The Prism Medical with the Freeway T90, the little kiddies one, whether it's attendant or whether it's self-propelled, that also works. And Osprey Healthcare obviously do a kiddies one as well. So the main 3 or 4 people that you go to, the shower chairs work over this. It is in the equipment compatibility report. I think everyone's going to get a copy of it. And I have brought the equipment compatibility report down into sections. So you can look at it and read all 45, 50 pages, or you can read the glossary at the start, of the index, sorry, and just flick to whatever page the pediatrics on. And what we've tried to do in the compatibility report is give you a photograph of the shower chair in question over the toilet so you can see it. And then at the end, we've got like a little tips and tricks page, recommended seat heights. For example, the Rifton HTS is height adjustable itself. So we may not know what height we need to install the toilet at until you provide the HTS and set it up at the height that's good for the families and the carers to be helping the child who's in it. So on the day that this toilet gets installed, we'd literally get the HTS, put it over the top and pull the toilet up to it matches it. And it's pretty much the same for the Flamingo. We know with a Prism Medical, the dimension W is always 48 centimetres. That's a gap from the floor to the underside of a shower chair. So we install this at 46.5 centimetres. But yeah, pretty much the main players of shower chairs that you use for paediatrics work.
Thank you very much, Simon. And that's all the questions. And we've got, well, we're just coming up to 5-2. So fantastic timing there. If there's any other questions, please do pop them in the chat box now. And Hannah and Simon and the team will come back to you. As I said, Hannah and Simon will have the list of all attendees and all registered so they can send you the compatibility report and your certificate link will be sent to you for your certificates. Simon, is there anything else you would like to say? Everyone's just basically saying thank you very much for all the Q&A and asking. Lydia's said thank you very much because you've answered lots of her questions.
Oh, brilliant.
And lots of people are really pleased. So thank you so much, Simon, for answering quite a raft of questions for the last 35 minutes. And thank you to everyone who's come into the session today. I know we were delayed by 5 minutes, but thank you again. If you need anything, please do get in touch with me and we'll speak to you all very soon.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the questions. Take care.
Thanks, Simon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye-bye.